All right, Cyber Traders, welcome on back here to wrap things up for the week this Friday, August 27th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, at this time of the day, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to see all of our students and trial members alike live inside the trading room. Leda, Lewis, Norman, I got Dino, Skip up there, got Wendy, Deb, Dave, the D's right there as well. My tongue's getting twisted, not just from all the students chatting inside the trading room, but I got to tell you, this day, and I don't even know where to begin with just one stock or the other. I'm in a couple of trades right now. I'm down on. It doesn't matter, and I know that a lot of us feel the same way here. And I'm not going to say how much I'm up. That's not my point. It's to say that you always try and prepare for days like today, and you never know when a day like today is going to come. And what I mean by that is this. I mean, this is Friday in the dog days of summer. I said it from the morning meeting. It's like, hey, I'm not expecting much out there. This was, it's not my best day ever, which I know what that number is, but it's relatively close and a lot closer to 10,000 compared to zero. So right now, like at this point in the day, this is incredible between not just the BBIG that's on the screen, but everything else that we had on the morning watch list today between the NNA trade, NURO, SEMI, TCAT wasn't really the best, RLX was awesome. RLX, the last one on the watch list, that was like a pretty decent stock. There were so many stocks that I didn't trade to a certain point, and you folks killed it. So it wasn't just me. It was like everyone posting big trades or profits. And I'll tell you this, before I even go further, for all of us live inside the trading room, this is, hey, if you're one of those students that didn't do well today, that didn't, make as much money, or perhaps if you're down, every dog has their day, right? So it's not to say that everyone should have been making money, but once you get into a groove, then you have a better ability to manage the trades and manage your profits and begin to really snowball them. So yes, there were losses involved in my day, and I'll go over those and briefly for you in just a moment. But hey, I say it on the other end of things. There are days where I don't have the best days, but a couple of us hit it big by watching some of the stocks that maybe I wasn't looking at right at the market open. So let's cover it all here. The BBIG trade, I'm not in this stock right now. I wasn't in this stock since 11 o'clock Eastern time this morning. So it goes to show you that, hey, I missed out on like $1.50 plus move on this trade. There's plenty of fish out there to catch. So, hey, BBIG was one of the stocks that we were looking at heading into the market open. It's Bitcoin mining / NFT related stock. And we were hopeful to see this move with TCAT, or for TCAT to move with this. That wasn't exactly the case today, but man, BBIG just kept going. And it came to a point where I personally thought it wasn't going to make that push right out the gate. And it ended up doing so. It ended up re-breaking the resistance at 4. From that point, ended up leading to a hell of a run up. Really easy move at that point, building up with higher lows and re-breaking resistance. So, when I say easy, this is all in relation to what we talk about live inside the trading room each and every day, what we talk about in Traders Talk each and every week, and what we talk about in class each and every month. So it's to say that after 10 o'clock Eastern time, or, sometimes a little bit later or sometimes earlier, but going into the mid-morning, you expect more false breakouts upon the first test of major resistance. So hey, if you just have that in mind, and then from there, if you just buy directly after it breaks through the level, the rest, hey, it leads to a huge run. And this ended up doing just that, one of many stocks, mind you. So right away, the BBIG, we're going to put this on our afternoon watch list to begin. I can already tell my tongue is starting to get tied up here, so bear with me, folks, for the next 25 minutes. Didn't refill up the water, but I got enough here, I think. So BBIG on our list to begin, the NURO stock, right? NURO. Oh my God, this was my moneymaker, at least for the day. And I'm actually still in this trade right now. So I'm not in on, the full position size like I was talking about from earlier today. But, this stock ended up making that exact move that we hoped for. I said it in the morning meeting. If this stock can make a fraction of the type of move that it made back, in July 20th, July 23rd, the following, Monday after, God bless. And it did exactly that. It ran from, 13 when it broke above resistance there, or even 1250. And then it spiked up towards 17, pulled back. Now, I was in this trade from the morning, but I ended up re-entering the trade later on. And when it ended up pulling back down towards the opening halt print, as we would call it, it reminded me very similar of a stock that we ended up trading yesterday. Oh, what do you know? It's SPRT. And we'll talk about this next. Don't get me wrong. We'll cover this move. I was not part of this, and this also proves another point I was making from the morning, from the meeting this morning. So at least from SPRT's case, we ended up seeing this stock begin to break above resistance. I think it was right over here where it ended up beginning to break under and then right back above the opening bell print, if I'm not mistaken, it was from yesterday. So once it did that, it led to this huge rally all the way back up. And that's what it reminded me of, at least, looking back on that trade, the NURO. I'm going to average down on this position here and manage the trade throughout the meeting, hopefully. But, right now this stock is beginning to pull back, but I feel like there's a chance this can keep going. It reminds me of SPRT in that sense. Hey, look at where SPRT was this morning, and then let alone from yesterday afternoon after 3 p.m. Eastern time. So, for right now, this stock as well, I have no problem putting this on our main list to begin, just given how much it's moved up for us earlier. It's pulled back, but we've seen the stock, make a continued move up higher, into the afternoon. So, we talked about that, like we had said from the morning. All right, so BBIG, NURO. What else we got? We'll talk about RLX for right now. That's not going to move as much for us right now, but nice little pop from the market open. This was one of the first stocks that we called out, at least after the open. Took off from 510, 512, popped all the way up towards just over 560. Unfortunately, the move was short-lived, but ended up making a nice pop. MRIN, another one from earlier today. This wasn't on the morning watch list as much. It ended up popping a little bit afterwards, right after 10 o'clock. One of our students, Norman, called it out. Ended up making for a huge pop over 6. Ended up running all the way up towards just almost 780, or just at 780. And for right now, this stock also, I'm in this trade right now. I'm in right from 695, actually. I was waiting for the shake back down, and for the meantime, I have my stop set. So if it breaks lower, I'm just going to take a -2, -3, whatever it's set at right there. All right, so I'll tell you, for right now, MRIN, if this could pop back up during the time we do this meeting, I'll definitely be more keen to put it on the main list for everyone else, just because I'm in this trade. And just because I'm hitting them well today doesn't mean that, right away you should put it on your list, or you should just jump in right away. I say it all the time, if there's a stock that I feel looks really good, then, I'll put it on our list. This right now, I want to see this make the pop up first before I really focus on it any further. I might just dump out after we finish up the meeting. All right, so I guess we'll go from the top. And AADI, I don't know what the hell this is. It's up God knows how much percent, trading 142,000 shares across the day. I don't know what this is, buyout or some sort of split glitch from TradeStation, but either way. All right, so SPRT, we'll keep it going. And for anything else that we ended up trading or calling out from earlier this morning, did well on, we'll go over it briefly. We had enough time here for the afternoon meeting, but, hey, SPRT, right? So we talked about it from the morning. Stock ended up moving all the way up towards just over 55, pulled back down. And I said it to trial members. I said it to anyone, really, who is, more uncomfortable following a stock that already made such a parabolic move. It was up over, what was it, 1,000% or whatever it was, from $5 to $55 at least by the time it was the morning meeting. So, and I say that across the last week and a half. So, at what point does it begin to pull back? It was very overextended, this move. So you knew once the market opened up, not only would it be chaotic, but more than anything else, it would begin to pull back further. People sell profits and just, get out of the trade. So with that, hey, it ended up shaking around. And then, as everything else ran up, the crazy part about this whole day, you never expected on a Friday, at the end of August, mind you, like right before Labor Day. You really don't expect it. But on a day like today where everything else was moving, we were calling everything else under the sun out, this stock ended up running from like 40 all the way up to 59 and change without us even mentioning it. Not a single soul in the trading room, myself included, ended up even talking about the run as it made that pop going into 12 o'clock Eastern time and onward. So, I mean, hey, right now at this point, I certainly just hope that nobody's in this trade now as a long cat, trying to catch a bottom. I mean, this move right now for sure is done, looking at this drop off here. And if it ends up making a bounce from this very point, I mean, listen, there's other stocks out there to trade, right? Don't let it be noise. Don't let it be a distraction. If you want to gamble, if you'd rather, really gamble than make more of an educated decision, then hey, that's up to you. And really, if you want to just trade a couple of shares, go ahead. I mean, just do it safe, right? But otherwise, though, if you're here to make money, if you're here to try to make that day's pay or more in the next hour and 21 minutes from right now, then, hey, we're going to try and follow stocks that are not just cheaper, but hell, that are way easier to read. All right, so let's keep it going though for the meantime, because even though BBIG is pretty volatile, that is a lot easier to read in the sense of the order book. Let me ask you folks, looking at level 3 right now, where do you have support on this trade? Well, pop quiz coming off the phase 1 and 2 courses that I taught from the last 2 weeks here. Where do we got support? He's playing around. Oh, you just missed it, actually. I don't know if anyone was just quick enough to catch it. And you probably have to go back on the recording of this meeting here. You do that right on our YouTube channel, right at youtube.com/cybertradingu. You know, plug that in. But otherwise at 550. 550, right? And how about this really quick? I do have enough time here, so let me just check this really fast. Do I have it up on my book map? I do. Give me a quick sec, folks. Going to launch level 4 right now. I want to show what happened here on this trade. This stock's on the NASDAQ exchange. So let's see if the order was at least. Oh, yeah, it was. And I don't know if the order was pulled, Norman. You said the order was pulled. I want to see if the order was actually pulled or if it was filled. And hey, you know, lo and behold, we can just go right back on the time and sales program just to like actually see. Looks like actually, Norman, you might be right here, man. Looking at the tape, looks like really not much volume filled off the 550. So, you know what? I'm going to show a book map, and I want to zoom in here to see exactly how close he was from pulling that order, if he did or what. Give me a split second here. We got time today, folks. We got time. All right, so here's our big fat iceberg. It was on level 3. It was on the matrix. Go back in the recording. It was there. And then obviously here it's on book map. Wow, Norman, you got quick eyes, sir. Look at that. See how it ended up getting gradually pulled from the book. 162,000 shares, 88,000 shares, 14,000 shares. So that all happened within a fraction of a second. That guy pulled the rug really quick. Very interesting, right? You never know what you're going to catch here inside the trading room, at least. All right. So for right now, hey, you know, otherwise that BBIG trade, we talked about it just to begin the meeting. You know, it's still on our list. Don't get me wrong. Just, you know, be a little careful around that 550 level. If anything, actually from Bookmap, there was a big 62,000 share sell print before that at 557. So even if it pops back above 50, be very mindful of a false breakout. It's dropping off pretty hard here. Also, MRIN's popping back up. I have that on my other screen. Just probably going to put that on our main list still. All right. The ship keeps on sailing. No pun intended here. I swear on my life, no pun intended. I did not have that planned here for this NNA trade. Maritime stock, right? But and it just happens that way, right? But nonetheless, ended up popping above resistance off of 315 going into the early afternoon. Then, you know, made a really nice pop, made a really nice move up. You know, I was really hopeful for this. And this part I did plan. SHIP, ship, right? We talked about this in pre-market. It was doing jack. It was doing nothing. Well, when that ended up making a bit of a pop, hey, this ship stock started to go a little bit. GLBS, I'm kind of kicking myself right now. This looks like a really low volume, crappy stock, but I had the intuition and assumption that this would move up. I had an order in it, or at I had a trade in at 307. I got out at 306. Just wasn't going anywhere at the time. Hey, nice little squeeze up here, but right now this stock is still like untradeable for us in the sense of volume. You know, so at least if anything, the NNA stock from earlier, that's the more active of the maritime shipping stocks out there, perhaps. I don't want to focus on them right now. I'd rather follow other trades here in the meantime. All right. If NNA does pop, then we'll reconsider. ATER, what the hell happens here? Jeez, I saw this pop up on my Benzinga Pro, and maybe Rich called it out earlier inside the trading room. I honestly didn't see it if he did, but man, what a run up on this thing. Holy smokes. I missed this whole move too. Jeez, ended up making an under and over from 5 after iceberg order broke. You can seemingly tell from the volume spike. Ended up running up $1.50, filled or came close to filling a gap. Damn, this was a huge miss on my part. Wow, what a run on this ATER stock. I don't know why the hell it's moving. I do not care. You know, Fausto would say the same thing. It sounds ignorant to say, but, you know, you don't want to try and look up the news when a stock is pumping up like this because you're not going to have enough time to even enter. So, you know, with that in mind, ended up dumping off here. Perhaps it could build a support. We'll see. I'll put it on our side list for right now, but for right now, the direction here, you know, seems to be down. ATER. Bob saying short squeeze. Yeah, it certainly seems that way, right? I mean, regardless of the news, that's all we like really just assume for it to be. Just hey, it's a short squeeze, and with that, the stock, is making a nicer, sharper run up. PXLW, another one from earlier today that ran up really well for us. And I mean, the stock from, really the beginning of this week, back from Monday this week, ended up making a nice pop from like, 475 all the way up towards just about 6. And then obviously today ended up breaking out higher than, this week's high to begin with. So ended up popping over 6 here, ran up really well. Right now, the stock is shortable. So if it ends up crapping out, then perhaps we could try and short it as it did from earlier. And, it has good liquidity. So, I'll put this on the main list, I guess, for right now. Doesn't seem that lively, but tradable nonetheless. More of a level 2 stock, not really too volatile for the meantime. All right, MMAT, another one from earlier today. This one we're more familiar with, formerly known as Torchlight, TRCH, and we ended up trading that stock back then, really back from late June or early July time. And then today, that was a long time ago. They changed their ticker a long while back. So now Meta Materials, MMAT, today ended up making a really nice pop once it broke out over 350, ended up making the shimmy and pop over 4 later on. It was actually a really quick break over 4, whereas I had said, normally look for a false breakout, the first test of a major resistance. It took a while to get the gears going for it to run off of 4, but, it ended up doing just that. Ran up pretty nicely once it broke out over 4. Again, very tradable. Don't get me wrong; it's up 20+% shortable, so it has dropped off a little bit. Like if I put every stock like this on our list, we might be at 50. So between PXLW and MMAT, we'll put both on for right now. Wow, look at this pop on BTBT. All right, we getting a pump on Bitcoin right now with all of this going on today, folks. And as much of a Bitcoin head as I am, I haven't really checked in much. I saw Riot and Mara push up pretty nicely earlier today. That's not really moving up as well. Mara's making a nice push. There we go. My buddies who held from 46.50 must be happy. There you go. Lovely. All right. So, yeah, Mara for the meantime up 11+%. We would have found this anyway. It's hard to not put this on our list. It's hard to not put BTBT on the list. And again, we'll get to Bitcoin entirely at the end of this meeting. All right, cool. NEGG New Egg, another runner back from late June, early July. Man, another push here. Geez. It's on the way up to 20, obviously. You would assume a major iceberg order to be there. There's only about 6,000 shares showing, but I would certainly imagine for there to be more volume filled there. If it's not just shown from level 3, it will likely be market transactions and just otherwise program trading kicking in. Let's see. We got time. Wow, it's only about 5,000 shares. Yeah, wow, I was wrong. Let's see, though. That might not be the end of the story because now you got another 1,400. So you might have some guys looking for the false breakout, and then they'll dump it back down. You knew a false breakout would happen that first, test of 20. Yeah, Newegg we'll put on our list here. Cool. At the end of it all, we might give the boot to the slower ones, the MMAT and PXLW for right now. We'll see. ANY, another stock I did pretty well on personally today. Ended up making a nice pop and run as it broke out over 475, 480. I ended up catching it off support here, right from 480. I got in. 482 is my entry price officially, and then I ran it up towards over 5. Then I got out officially on the last half of my position at 533 or something like that. Dumped back down, and yeah, for right now, this stock seems relatively exhausted. Tradable, kind of like the others, like we talked about, but again, for right now, we'll pass on this at least. Wow. Unfortunately, a dump off here on the XCLA. I was hoping that this would be more towards the highs now at this point, but unfortunately dumped back down. Ended up making a nice pop and breakout over 230. And yeah, for the meantime, I don't know. It'll be a tough bargain to see this stock pop right back up, break out over new highs. Has some big orders on the ask for it to break through and fill, so it's got to get going. It doesn't really seem like it's going to make that move. All right, let's hop over to the loser side here, folks. I don't really see much else on the gainers end here. I'll probably come back to that in just a moment, though. We'll check out the loser side here in the meantime. Sava, familiar. Oh, didn't mean to click that. Sava, familiar name, just pretty expensive, right? So it looks like this had a really nice move altogether. Ended up popping shortly after the market opened from 52 up to 60, back down to 50, back up to 60, 4 and change. And hey, that could have been a nice trade, very volatile in a good way. I mean, if you know how to trade a stock like this that has a very thin volume on the book, you got to use level 4 more so for this. But yeah, for right now, pretty flat. WB was this Weibo, yeah. Peloton down still. You don't really see too many familiar names that are more within our price range aside from this IQ. IQ I clicked on right as I said that, so it doesn't count. But IQ near the low of the day right now. That's pretty interesting, and it is shortable. A little slow, right? So if it's too slow for you, then perhaps don't put it on your main list. But for right now, I mean, hey, we got support showing on the bid at 850. The stock, I think, is near all-time lows. I think that is the all-time low setback from like a week ago, or maybe even was this week from last Thursday. 816, the all-time low, I think, on this stock. IQ. This stock was once known, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, but I know my stocks here. So, from its IPO, it was hyped up as the Chinese Netflix. Could I be wrong on that? Chinese Netflix, I think they had said for IQ. But man, nonetheless, ended up taking a big drop at the midway point of 2018. And then has only since dropped off. So yeah, I mean, hey, this stock, I mean, it might not make the biggest move, but for right now, I'm pretty interested in it. All right, so folks, what else we got? Up, down, left, right, more than 5%. Anything that you would want me to check out, take a look at here. All right, taking a quick look here, folks. Scott from Gene on NURO. Let's take a look. Pulling back down. I took a look at it as we were like kind of going through the loser side, so I knew where it was. I was hoping for like a pop right back up, but I'm still in this trade actually on a half size position. I didn't jump back in yet. I have an order set actually now over 17, so I was hoping for that pop and entry, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, hey, SPRT, we talked about that yesterday. I gave you the playbook on that, and thankfully that ended up working out picture perfect. But we'll see if this could snake its way back over 17 and begin a new move back up. I don't mind keeping this on our list for right now. I got to extend my chat here. My apologies. From Dave, he says Wish moving up. That's not good for my NURO trade. I'll tell you that much. Wish dropping off here. But it was moving up pretty nicely just a moment ago. Yeah, at least I'll get NURO at a discounted price if I could find support up enough, at least where it's not going to kill me. Clove, this thing's not doing anything. DATS and VERU, I'd say the same on DATS and VERU. A little slow. The thing with DATS, perhaps, I mean, this one is at all-time highs, I think. I mean, I'm on a monthly chart right now, but obviously from the last couple of weeks, we've been following this stock, and all-time high, yeah, it was from today. So if this can get back going, then perhaps it can make for a nice trade. But the stock's trading about like 4,000 or 5,000 shares per minute in volume. That's like very light right now. That's not what you want to see. All right, I got to get my Bitcoin chart up, and then we'll officially wrap up here, folks. All right. All right, let's see if I can get this in a one-shot deal. There we go. Oh, nice. All right, so Bitcoin really quickly, just heading into the weekend. It seems like every Friday going into the weekend, there's always a big move shortly after this meeting on Bitcoin. So, even more so today than anything, then I want to go over this. Ended up beginning to pull back below the 49,000 across the last few days. That's the line, the level that we were talking about. Top line here is 50,000. I just had that up as a psychological level, but 49 is the level I've been harping on. And with that, I mean, hey, it's not going to be a surprise to me at all to see Bitcoin begin to slump back down temporarily. If I'm wrong with that and it just blasts off again, God bless. I mean, hey, there could be any sort of good news or catalyst out there otherwise that we don't know about. Maybe there could be some renewable energy mining deal out there coming out in the next week. And then, next thing you know, Bitcoin's back to 60. that could always happen. So if that happens, that's a very good situation for me to be wrong on with this potential pullback. But otherwise, yeah, I think that we're going to see a bit of a pullback. Now, this line here is not where I think it's going to pull back down to. If it does, then, I'm ready for it. But otherwise, this line is like the last major point of inflection that we had here. Ended up closing back on February 1st, of the week of, just under it. And then here closed just over it. And then when it popped above it here and closed above 39,000, it ran up pretty nicely again. So, it's to say maybe the midway point, perhaps right around like just a clean 44,000, we could see it pull back down to. And, from there, a new higher low and then a run back up later on. So that's just a thought. That's an idea. That's all. But otherwise, everything else I wanted to talk about here, Cardano ended up making a really nice bounce back up recovery, really just from the last couple of days dumping off with Bitcoin and everything else. Let me get to hourly chart here on that. See, really dating back to this morning at 6 a.m. Eastern time, ended up making a really nice like 20-cent run. So, I told one of our students, Lewis, who's, in this, crypto right now, I know a bunch of us are, it's to say though that, hey, I think that there's a great chance we could see 3 by late next week. And I say that because with smart contract being deployed on Cardano blockchain coming up September 12th, I think that we'll see a new run happen before that point, and I think that we'll see it dump back down even before that point. So, we'll see what comes on this trade. I was saying 310 would be the next local top, and I still think that's in play. But even at that point, maybe Bitcoin's ready for the next big rally, and that could lift all the other cryptos up, including Cardano. And we'll see what happens here. That's all. This is the last thing I wanted to show before we finish up. Just kind of showing a quick outlook on the long and short interest and activity across Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. Not a whole lot really happening on Bitcoin across the last 7 days. No major spikes in the long or short interest. Ethereum looks like it picked up a tiny bit, but not a whole lot since really Wednesday, Tuesday this week. Cardano has been more of a mess. We ended up seeing just a whole bunch of activity across this week. Shorts ended up closing their positions for a little bit here, ended up spiking back up. It seems like heading into this morning, early afternoon. So we'll kind of keep track of that at least. But otherwise, not much to really write home about. That's all. All right. So since I was flapping my gums about crypto, it looks like DATS has pushed back up. How about that? A little push back up on DATS. I don't mind putting this on our list here for right now. We got a decent list for a Friday afternoon, folks. Normally, I wouldn't have so many stocks on our list heading into the end of the week, but otherwise, we've had such a good morning today, and some stocks right now moving up pretty well. So I'm going to keep the list as is. And for all of us right now on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, let me do 2 things. First and foremost, and as always on a Friday, enjoy your weekend. I'm not going to tell you to join our trading room. You know to do so now at this point. But otherwise, if you have any other questions, feel more than free to send over a quick question right over to my email address, josh@c2trading.com. I'll check back on my email machine at least coming into Sunday, at least end of the weekend. But send over any questions that you have for me, at least otherwise. All right. But for all of us live inside the trading room, you got me up until 4 o'clock today. I'd said that yesterday, but I'll be honest, after that SPRT pop, I gave you the playbook on that, and I jumped in over 17. So the second that popped and ran, and I made my money, I wiped my hands clean. I said, that's it. I think I have an all-time record to break today. How about that? So I'm here for the long haul. I'll catch back with you folks coming up pretty shortly, though. Take care.